Hey everyone, welcome to the show, where today I have a new co-host, introducing this Mumbo PNG. Say hi to everyone.
Ubenaka, 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 Ubenaka.
Wait, what?
Mumbo jumbo, mumbo jumbo.
What?
What do you mean you're gonna turn me into a washing machine?
Wait,
Ubenaka, mumbo jumbo, Ubenaka, mumbo jumbo.
Oh man, I don't feel so good.
I guess his spell didn't go as planned.
Why does a 2000s kid who's never even owned a Nintendo 64 want to play Banjo Kazooie? As someone who grew up watching The Completionist a lot, Banjo Kazooie is the stuff of legend. I've wanted to play it for years, but I've never had an official way until I bought a 360 last year and got my hands on the Xbox Live Arcade remake of Banjo Kazooie. Wait, a Nintendo game on Xbox? As many of you know, Banjo-Kazooie was made by a company called Rare, who at this point were mainly known for the groundbreaking Donkey Kong Country series on the Super Nintendo. In the early 2000s, Rare was bought out by Microsoft, and despite all the things that happened after this, eventually remakes or remasters of both Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie would be released for the Xbox Live Arcade, and that's what I'll be playing today.
Well, of course I can still hold a controller.
Ha ha! It is me, and I swear that I will pee on your knee if you do not answer me these questions 3! But, are you serious? This is what we're doing?
So, what happens in a Banjo-Kazooie? Let's start with some introductions. This here is Tootie, apparently the prettiest girl in all of the land.
Yeah, those were the game's words, not mine.
And this here is Gruntilda, or Grunty, and she's the lowest low-life jealous skank bitch scum of the earth. She wants to steal Tootie's beauty with this machine thing, so she kidnaps her. This here is Banjo, Tootie's older brother, and he'd rather not have Tootie be kidnapped by some old hag, so he's off to stop that shit. Oh yeah, and he's holding Kazooie hostage. You know, the bird. And that's about it for the story. Grunty took your sister, so you're going to get her back. Despite the simplicity, I think this story is pretty good for a couple reasons. For one, and this will go along with the presentation of the whole game, everything and everybody looks fucking stupid. Okay, that may sound a little harsh, but what I mean by that is all the characters have an admittedly blocky cartoon look to them. Tons of inanimate objects have eyes and talk, all of the enemies are expressive and goofy. I really like these guys you find in the ship in Rusty Bucket Bay. Hi! These kids are just excited to see you and Banjo murders them without a second thought. This game is hilarious to me. Not so much in the actual writing, but more like the physical humor. It's hard to explain, but I just look at this game and laugh at the way the characters move and the noises they make. For 2, this game encourages you to hate the villain by constantly reminding you what you're fighting for and how shitty Grunty is. Throughout the entire game, especially when you're in Grunty's lair, she'll taunt you and hate on Banjo's super fashionable jorts. There are progression gates that you have to collect music notes for in order to continue the game, and instead of being angry at the game, your anger is directed at Grunty, so by the end of the game, it's not only about saving Tootie, but also smacking Gruntilda upside the head.
You shall not hit me, because I am so fucking great!
Hey, what's that smell?
So, Grunty has your sister. How do you get her back? After you climb up the tutorial world known as Spiral Mountain, you'll enter Gruntilda's lair. You must simply get to the top and curb stop Grunty. But wait! There are doors all over the lair that require a certain amount of music notes to open. Well, how do you get music notes? You have to explore levels accessed by finding these panels and putting jigsaw pieces, or jiggies, together to open the door to said levels. Does all that sound complicated? Well, it's not. You collect jiggies and music notes to progress through the game. Simple. Other than jiggies and music notes, there are a couple other things you can find. You can find all sorts of eggs and feathers which act as ammo for Kazooie to shoot eggs and fly, we'll come back to that later, and these skull things that bring you to Mumbo so he can transform you into different things with different abilities.
Mumbo jumbo, mumbo jumbo.
Oh god, don't hit me again!
Aside from that, there are also these little dudes called Jinjos. There are 5 in every level, and when you find them all, you're rewarded with a Jiggy. So, to recap, in every level, there are 10 Jiggies, 100 music notes, 5 Jinjos, and 2 secret honeycomb pieces that I didn't mention, but I'm putting in the recap anyway.
So you just get stuff. Well, where's the fun in that?
Yeah, you just get stuff. Now you may be wondering, well, why would that be fun? Just sounds like a laundry list of stuff to do. A chore, even. In my opinion, collecting stuff in itself is not fun enough to carry a game. Games of this caliber need something to keep it engaging. For example, a game like Mario Odyssey has a bazillion million things to collect, but why do you do it? In that game, Mario has phenomenal movement capabilities, so it's fun just going from place to place in that game, and collecting stuff is just a bonus. Banjo-Kazooie doesn't really have that, though. This will segment perfectly into talking about the movement. Banjo himself is pretty lame. He can jump, punch, and swim. That's it. And his punch is so ass that you'll never hit anything with it, I promise. You put Kazooie in there and we're actually getting somewhere. Kazooie adds a double jump, a faster running speed that can go up slopes, the ability to fly on specific pads, the ability to super jump on specific pads, put on special boots, backflip to jump higher, shoot eggs, poop eggs, a beak attack, a slamming beak attack, and the super invincible Wonder Wing.
Damn, they should have named the game Kazooie and Banjo.
All this comes together for a pretty versatile kit, but I've got one major problem with it. None of it flows together. Jumping slows you down, and most moves require you to stop first, so the game has a rather methodical pace. I think a Mario-like long jump or something equivalent to keep the duo moving would have been an amazing addition. Without one, it often feels like a chore to move through the long areas, especially the hub world. Grunty's lair acts as your hub world, and it's actually a pretty big place. Maybe a little too big. Every time you load up the game, you start at the beginning of the lair, and you have to trek all the way back to the area you were at, and even with Kazooie's Trot, it's still boring. Unlike Peach's Castle from Mario 64, it isn't visually stimulating either. It just cave. Thankfully, the levels themselves are the complete opposite. The absolute highlight of this game is the tight, well thought out levels. Except for Click Clock Wood. This game doesn't have a crazy number of levels, but the ones we do have are diverse, full of content, and memorable. You'll explore everything from mountains, beaches, and jungles to shipyards, deserts, and snowy landscapes. Every level is designed in a way to be explored and completed in one go, except for Gobi's Valley and Freezeezy Peak because you need upgrades found in the other level, and this makes for great pacing. I would find a level, collect everything, and then move on to the next. None of the needless back and forth from Mario 64 or Odyssey. Most of these levels are small and packed with stuff to do, so you're never too far away from the next Jiggy, and you always feel like you're accomplishing something. Nothing is too cryptic, there are memorable set pieces so you know where you're going, the music is actually amazing, like I was blown away at how catchy some of these tracks are. All your moves have purpose, so it feels like Banjo and Kazooie fit into these worlds organically, and there's not a lot of awkward jumps or unfair nonsense. Gotta say though, the enemies in combat are kinda whatever. Most enemies don't do anything except walk towards you, so you hit them with this jump attack, and that's almost every encounter. I found myself captivated by how the game takes advantage of these locations. For example, in Freezeezy Peak, there's a giant tree that you can actually go inside and see a bunch of stuff, and in Mad Monster Mansion, you can break some of these windows and find secrets on the upper floors of the mansion. I love how the camel Gobi moves to different levels and recognizes you and is frightened, because you violated him multiple times. The game is full of moments like this. My favorite levels ended up being Clanker's Cavern and Rusty Bucket Bay due to all the unique places you could explore.
Damn, this game sounds like a perfect 10 out of 10 now, don't it?
Dear lord, this game falls off so hard at the end. Click Clock Wood is a giant vertical level that you have to comb over 4 separate times due to the season changing mechanic. It's got tons of do or die platforming while climbing the tree, and no easy way to access all of it at once. There's this one part where you're collecting acorns, and I thought the game was broken because one of them was just floating over this pit. Turns out you're supposed to jump and grab it, which took multiple tries by the way, and land on this tiny ledge here.
Yeah, fuck this world.
It's finally time to take on Grunty, and well, it's a board game. Jokes aside, this is actually pretty freaking cool. Grunty hosts a game show and puts you up on certain challenges depending on which spaces you go to, varying from trivia about the game to rematches against bosses. I've got one minor problem with it though. Around Grunty's lair, you'll find Brentilda, Grunty's sister, and she'll give you bits of trivia that you have to remember, but there's so many that I just stopped giving a fuck and stopped trying to remember them. Turns out, some of them are questions in the game show, but fortunately, luck was on my side and I guessed my way through.
X gon' give it to you.
After that, Grunty fucks off and you rescue Tootie, bringing your journey to an end.
Can you see the sun is shining on me?
Just kidding. Even though there is a false credit scene, you have to climb all the way up the layer again to take on Grunty for the true final boss. And I hope you're ready to waste 10 agonizing minutes on this slow, irritating boss fight with multiple phases and no checkpoints. I spent like 40 minutes on this crap because of stupid knockback and weird hitboxes that I couldn't figure out quickly.
Oh, I have returned to burn your heart at the stern! What? That doesn't even make any sense!
These last two sections honestly brought the game down from a 10 to like an 8. It's just a complete 180 to the masterful design from the rest of the game. Fortunately, that rest of the game is absolutely amazing. It's a silly little game that somehow managed to outperform Mario in terms of quality. I enjoyed this game so much that I went back to the worlds I had already completed just to wander around in the environment because of the feel-good atmosphere. The levels are masterfully designed, the graphics and soundtrack are bright, colorful, and catchy. Overall, I recommend anyone give this game a shot because them Jiggies are calling your name. But be sure to throw it out the window when you get to Click Clock Wood.
Oh, please change me back, Big Daddy Mumbo.
Mumbo jumbo. Ubenaka. Mumbo jumbo. Ubenaka.
Ew.